Hello and welcome to So You Think You Can Rule Persia, the podcast where we rate and review all the kings of Persia from Diocles to Yazdegerd III. I am Sariel and my pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Umberto, my pronouns are he, him. Hello everybody and welcome to episode 71, Bahram IV.
Another Bahram.
Another Bahram. We didn't like the first three Bahrams.
Well, yeah, I didn't like especially the first one.
Yes, the first one was especially bad.
Then the two that followed, yeah, more of the
Third
same.
one ruled for like a month and that was it. And the second, long time but nothing good, so... yeah. Do you have high hopes for Bahram IV? His predecessor was murdered. His predecessor's predecessor was dethroned. Do you think Bahram IV will have more success or otherwise? Or is it death spiral time?
Honestly, I don't even remember where we left off. I knew it was sad and disappointing, but...
Yes, that's fair. So, yeah, let's get a bit of a recap of what happened last time. Well, last time, we were with Shapur III, who was supposedly the son of Shapur II, the good one. And basically what's happened is that we're settling the situation in Armenia, in the west. Things are pretty good. We've managed to divide it up with the Romans. The Romans took a bite out of it, but we managed to maintain most of Armenia's vassal kingdom, which is nice. In the east, we have that the Kidarites are taking a bunch of land. They've taken Kabul recently, which is not great. And internally, the nobles are mostly trying to take control, and they have deposed one king in Ardashir II and killed Shapur III by crushing him with a tent, if you remember.
Yeah, that was,
Good times. And now Bahram IV is in charge, and we'll get to see what he does. Does he do a good job? Does he improve things? Or is it just more spiraling downwards, more unfortunate ends? So, okay, let's start. First of all, who is Bahram IV? Where does he come from? What is his deal? Well, Bahram IV was the son of a king of kings, Shapur, but we're not sure which one.
Oh, great. Starting strong.
Yes. Because many sources claim that he is the son of Shapur III, but they also claim that Bahram was old enough to be a governor when he took the throne. But if that's the case, then Shapur III should have been at least 20 when his father died.
Mm-hmm.
So then why would he need Ardashir II as an intermediate ruler? Right,
Yeah,
remember that Ardashir was a caretaker king.
Yeah, like then that doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, so that doesn't work out. So some historians, Al-Tabari and Al-Talibi, claim that Bahram was actually son of Shapur II and brother of Shapur III.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the son of a king of kings, but not the one that immediately preceded him.
Right.
But it's also possible that since all the ancient sources claim that his father was Shapur III, maybe Shapur III was technically old enough to succeed his father, but the nobles insisted that Ardashir II take control of the empire because it was a bit of a crisis situation and they needed somebody older, more experienced to actually ensure the comfortable transition of power. As a third alternative, we have that Ardashir was Shapur II's son, and Shapur III was Ardashir's son, which messes up the timeline even more. And we said that Ardashir was probably a nephew or something, so we're not going to consider that third version.
Yeah, we were already like,
Yeah.
you know.
I'd say my favorite theory is to follow Al-Tabari, that Bahram is actually just the son of Shapur II, not Shapur III, and the Roman sources are just confused because he is the son of Shapur, and they're just assuming it was the one just before him and not the Shapur II.
Yep.
In any case, he was the son of a Shapur and became king of kings at one point, is what we're certain of. So great. But we have some information on his time as a prince because he seems to have been the vassal king of the kingdom of Kerman. which is a region in the east of Iran, but it is much further south than the area that is currently being affected by nomads, so it probably was a relatively comfortable trading job where he could practice at being king, but didn't really have to worry about any serious crises, and we could leave the dangerous situation to somebody who was more experienced and more capable. So he has this little job, and it works well enough.
Right.
We're told that he made sure to have generals loyal to him, which, fair enough, that's reasonable to do. But as a demerit to him, it looks like he didn't hold something called Mazalim Court, which is basically a type of court where the king would listen to the grievances of ordinary people and pass judgment on them. So if you're a farmer who claims some of your land has been taken by your neighboring farmer, you could just walk up to the king and say, hey, here's the case, please judge for us, and the king should be able to do that. Looks like Bahram thought this was beneath him, or was not interested in it, was too busy, or whatever. So he didn't hold this type of court, he didn't have this close contact with the common people. So that is something that is a bit of a demerit against his rule that we can see. The fact that he tried to make sure to have the generals loyal to him suggests that he was probably a bit uneasy and didn't trust them in the first place. And so he wanted to make sure that they would obey him, unlike, the nobles that either killed or deposed his two predecessors. So presumably with the nobles being so much more independent, Bahram is trying to keep a handle on everything and make sure that he won't be murdered in the night and everything will go reasonably well, which is, something you can assume. It's fair enough. As with the previous two kings, Bahram is still holding up the old tradition of Ardashir I in his iconography, but interestingly enough, he varies this by saying that he is just a king. He is not so much a religious figure. He is only a king, only a secular ruler, which is possibly in an effort to show himself as a bringer of justice and order in a turbulent period, saying, I'll do one thing and do it well. Or maybe even just in reaction to some accusations that maybe had been made against Ardashir II and Shapur III. So he is trying to sort of backtrack on some things for which his predecessors had been greatly accused. So what happens? Bahram one day hears the news that Shapur has been crushed by his tent, so what are we doing? Well, what is the first thing we have to deal with? Of course, Armenia is always there, because yes, why not? We thought we solved it, but clearly no. Because apparently the Persian vassal ruler of Armenia decided to defect to the Romans in 394, and luckily enough, it looks like the Romans were pretty relaxed about all this, and they just didn't accept this defection of Armenia. They said, we made a deal with Iran, we have a deal about how Armenia is to be divided, so okay, you can just keep Armenia, Bahram, do what you want.
We don't care. Whatever.
Yeah. So Bahram just simply replaced this vassal ruler of Armenia with his own brother, a man called Bahram Shapur.
Because why make things easy,
Yeah, because it's great to have three brothers called Shapur, Bahram, and Bahram Shapur. Because why not? Sure, that'll be fine.
We love that.
But it's okay. Bahram Shapur isn't important enough to remember. So good. He'll just be there. He'll just rule Armenia. Good for Armenia. Hooray.
This is fine.
But that wasn't all the trouble in the West, because it seems that the nomads from the steppe are moving further and further west. Because it looked like a horde of Huns came through the northern Caucasus and began invading Roman lands, which were mostly free of soldiers after the death of Theodosius I. So there's a bunch of Huns diving through the Caucasus, and they are ravaging Syria and Cappadocia for most of the year. And then finally, they turn their eyes on Mesopotamia, because the Romans didn't stop them. So, well, they're full of loot. They're going to decide, why not try and attack Ctesiphon? That'll be interesting. That'll be fun. Some historians are actually even suggest that the Huns invaded Roman territory first because they had been gently invited through by the Sassanids, who controlled a lot of the passes in the Caucasus, to sack and pillage and all that sort of thing. But then eventually they later double-crossed the Persians and decided to march through their lands and do all that. But in the end, the Huns managed to invade the lands of Mesopotamia and sacked a bit of the countryside. They took a few smaller cities, nothing too large. And Bahram managed to send his own army in that area, and he defeated the Hunnic army. So that's great. They didn't manage to get to Ctesiphon, they didn't manage to get any large cities, so we managed to hold on to them. After all those raids, we're told that the Sassanids managed to free 18,000 prisoners that had been enslaved by the Huns, most of which were Romans. And it looks like Bahram sort of kept these in trust, trying to see what to do with them. Maybe he could strike a deal with the Romans to return all these prisoners, and in exchange, maybe he could get some trade benefits, or, something else that could be interesting for him. That would be nice. But the nice thing is that the Sassanids could keep all the loot that the Huns had taken. The Huns had spent most of a year sacking a bunch of cities, but now they've been defeated, they have left a bunch of their loot behind, and we can keep it. We can have a look at it, so that's neat. And after this, the Huns fled back across the Caucasus, and this was apparently such a significant defeat that the Huns remembered it 50 years later when Attila became king, or Khan, I suppose.
Yeah.
And we get this story from the tale that Attila told to a Roman ambassador at a dinner party.
Huh. Fun.
Where Attila said, 50 years ago we ravaged Syrian Cappadocia, tried to go against the Sassanids, but they kicked our butts. We ran away. But now, hey, I'm Attila the Hun, I can do whatever I want, deal with it. But how do you think Bahram dealt with the nobility?
Well, it hasn't been going great.
No, it has not.
It worked with, was it Shapur?
Yes, Shapur II.
The crowned before being born baby?
Yes, Shapur II is him.
But I don't know. Yeah, they've been bad, so,
Yes, it's not been a fun time. Well, Bahram, as we saw, tried to keep the loyalty of his generals by sending them frequent letters, trying to basically send messages saying, do you like me? Check yes, no, maybe.
Yeah. Literally.
And hoping you got a lot of positive answers and seeing, oh, they like me, that's good. Thank goodness the nobles enjoy me.
Mm-hmm.
So, confident in all of this, he decided to go on a hunt one day, and he decided, having seen what happened to his predecessor, maybe he would take a lighter tent. Try not to get crushed by a massive tent in the night. That would be unfortunate. So, Bahram decided to go off into the woods and try and hunt wild boar, which is always...
This always goes well.
Quite a famous thing, yeah. And wouldn't you know it, Serial, there was a terrible thing that happened.
Oh.
Because while he was hunting, he was all there with his noble friends, and then one point, just an arrow came out of nowhere and struck Bahram in the neck. And oh, wouldn't you know it, so much blood. Oh, the blood. Oh no, he's dying. He's dying. He's dead. That's it. And so Bahram died. But don't worry, Serial, apparently he deserved it.
I mean, I don't know much about this man. Like, you're telling me as if, like, oh no, I'm gonna be sad about it, but I'm like, I literally have no feelings at the moment. Like, we just started the episode.
Enough.
What do you want me to say?
But apparently he deserved it because he had killed 20,000 people. Just because he could. Which sounds like an unrealistically large number, but maybe Bahram had tried to control the nobles by executing a few minor attendants for, presumably breaking the law. And the nobles thought, wait, the king is trying to do his job? That doesn't sound like what a king is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Kill him. End him.
Off with him.
Yes, off with his head. And so, well, great, second king in a row to be murdered. That's exciting. But Serial, there is some very exciting news now.
Oh.
Because we get a king that is going to succeed Bahram.
Mm-hmm.
His own son.
Huh?
Can you guess what his son is called? It is a very exciting name for us.
Wait, is it actually? Or, like, are you just telling me?
It is an exciting name, yes. It is an exciting name.
Because I thought you were just going to say Shapur.
No, it's not Shapur. It is a genuinely exciting name. What name would you be excited to hear from our podcast?
Sorry, give me a minute, because I'm genuinely like, who are you referring to? And why do you suppose that I know this name?
You have been saying this name many, many times.
Have I?
I think you've said it at least 71 times.
Oh, Yazdegerd.
Yes.
Oh my
the
god.
successor of Bahram IV is Yazdegerd the First.
Let's
So we've
go!
made it to our first Yazdegerd. We're getting there.
About time. Oh my god.
Yes.
Exciting. So it is in this dynasty that it comes from. I wonder how
Yes,
Yazdegerd
exactly.
the First will do.
We'll see. I mean, there's going to be 2 more Yazdegerds, so clearly it's
Yep.
not the worst performance.
Yeah.
But we also got a Bahram IV, and the previous 3 weren't great, so
Yep.
who knows? We didn't get a Narse II, to be fair, so...
To be fair,
you know.
Bahram IV was also not great. All of the
Not
Bahrams
exactly. This
so
is not
far.
a good name.
Yeah.
Serial, get ready for Bahram VI. When eventually Bahram VI comes, he is so cool. I love him.
Amazing. Finally, like, saving the name.
It's going to be basically at the end of the podcast, but he is cool. So,
Well, you can't
preface
have it
that.
all.
We'll see.
Hmm.
So, yes,
Oh, I'm
we will
excited.
have Yazdegerd the First in August because
Mhm.
we're taking a week off next week, so sorry.
Yep.
It happens. But okay, Serial, are you ready to rate Bahram IV?
Let's do it.
This exciting man. Yes.
Let's go.
So our first category is final moments. How interesting was his death? Killed during a hunt, arrow through the neck. Noble death.
I mean, this has happened before.
I think it's not as interesting as Shapur III because the tent
No.
is a more original
Yeah.
method of killing people.
Yeah.
Arrow during hunting, I think it's somewhat interesting, but I'm thinking a 4 because it's like it's not even surprising that the nobles are killing a king at this point.
Yeah,
it's not
no,
like, oh
I'm
my
like, we've
goodness,
seen
how
this
could they? It's
before.
like,
Like,
yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
guess it was going to happen anyway. It's a thing.
mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking roughly a 4, and it wasn't super personal. We get some detail, but not much. So yeah, that's what I think. What do you think he has a score here?
I mean, it wasn't that fascinating. I would go for like a 1, a 2.
2, wow.
Like, it is an orchestrated death, right? So it's not just like, oh, he fades
Yeah, I
into
mean,
history.
you gave a 2 for Shapur II dying of old age in happiness.
Yeah, but that's so
Which, you know, fair
unlikely,
enough.
you know?
Sure, that's fair.
Like, that is more surprising to me.
Okay, sure. I mean, valid point.
Maybe a 3 because of the pizzazz of, you know, like, he went hunting. But, like, we at this point, we've seen it so many times, which is,
Yeah.
you know, can't believe I'm saying
I mean,
this,
you can
but
give him
yeah.
a 1 if you like. That's not a.
No.
That's entirely your choice.
No, I think I'm gonna go with a 2. I am just not.
Okay.
This man has made no impression. I am.
No, that is.
I am so
fair. Yes.
about this whole thing.
He is a very meh man.
I'm sorry.
I think we know what the answer at the end is going to be, but let's
Yeah.
keep going. So with a 4 and a 2, he gets a 3 out of 10 for final moments. Our next category is battle hardness. How good was he at war and fighting? He defeated a big army of Huns so hard that they remember it 50 years later.
Yeah,
That's pretty
that was-
good.
Yeah, that was very impressive.
You know, we don't get much detail because of sources. Unfortunately, I think this is the last bad source period that we're going through. Everything else is going to be on the upswing from this. I'm researching the last episodes, and it's just like so much stuff to read. But yeah, anyway. So battle hardness, he defeated a bunch of Huns. We know nothing else about his career. So it's a pretty good battle, but we don't
Yeah.
know if he fought personally in it, if he just commanded people to go, or how difficult it was. I mean, these people were ravaging Roman lands for a year, and he managed to defeat them. So that's clearly was a large enough army to be a threat, and he defeated it. So it's not just like 3 guys and a goat traveling around. It was an actual army. So, I'm saying like
yeah.
a 3, maybe. Because it's not great, but I think it's worth something at least.
That one victory, very impressive, very important, long lasting.
Yeah.
But I'm not even, like, even with that, which is so impressive, I'm like, who is he again?
I mean, yeah, this is a story that we only have through, like, I had to go to a library to find it because it was
Yeah.
in no other books.
Damn.
Because it's just like, we only have it from this one anecdote of Attila telling this at a dinner party.
Yeah, that's
And that's
really
it.
strange. Not how, like, famous things usually go. I
Yeah,
guess.
although it's unlikely that the Huns would publicly say, "Oh yeah, this is a time we were defeated really hard."
Yeah, no, of course
So
you're not
probably something
gonna talk
happened,
about it.
You're not gonna make it up and say, "Oh, this was terrible," but
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's worth a 3 at least, just for the
Yeah, I'm with you.
memory,
That
but it's not
fair.
great. Okay, fair. So with a 3 and a 3, we get a 6 out of 20 for battle hardness. Our next category is scheminess. How good was he at plots and manipulations? The one element we have here is that he may have allowed the Huns through the Caucasus to march into Roman lands. That's it.
Wow.
So he maybe used the Huns to do this and did a whole secret, "Oh no, I couldn't possibly see them," sort of thing. Or maybe it was just that the Huns just went through and he was unable to stop them. I think this might be worth a token 1, but nothing too massive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm going for a 1. How about you?
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
There. Okay.
Yeah.
So with a 1 and a 1, he gets a 2 out of 20 for scheminess. Our next category is shock factor. How shocking was this man? He was a guy who did stuff, presumably, and yeah. We don't really have much information on anything beyond that. Did he? Nah.
Did he? What?
Nah, he did nothing at all.
I thought so.
0. Yeah, 0 all around. So with a 0 and a 0, he gets a 0 out of 20 for shock factor. Our next category is Aaron Shine. How good was he for the Empire in general and Iran in particular?
So? He didn't have a long time, right?
Along.
But like,
he had more time than you would expect from what we had to say about him.
I guess we just don't have many sources.
Yes, it's just a very bad time for sources.
Is this because they get erased later on, or is this just lost to history? I mean, I guess if they got erased later on and they did it really well, then it would look like it was lost to history. But
so I'm not certain about this. This is just me imagining. I think it's just because there's a lot happening in the Roman world. Like, the empire is starting to collapse. So those historians are writing more about the Roman Empire collapsing than what's happening here. And we don't have many local sources. Not sure why. It doesn't look like they're being deliberately erased. Like, looking at what happens afterwards, there isn't somebody saying, "Oh no, I need to cancel this history." It's more like things are carrying on.
Because we're constantly like relying on the Romans to give us the history, which is odd, But
yeah, I mean, the fact is that generally what we have are Arab historians or Arabic writing historians that are more quote-unquote local sources. And they clearly have, more information from the time that is closer to them.
Yeah, of course.
So I think the fact is that we're still far enough from the Arabic historians that they don't have much information, but also we're at peace with Rome, so the Romans don't care to write about us.
So nobody's
we had
writing
a ton of
about
information because
we were at war
with
It's
the
weird to
Romans.
me that like an entire empire doesn't have its own way of like keeping history.
I mean, but it was likely an oral version of history, so it was mostly like there are people singing this history, and if nobody writes it down, who cares about who was king 250 years ago? Let's care about the king that's here now. And then
that is fair.
They're going to formalize and write down these documents like about 100 years before the empire falls, and that's when we really start to get a lot of Arabic sources, because they have their own primary sources to read from. At this point, it's a lot of oral sources that are going back and forth.
Interesting.
But yeah, so for Aaron Shine, he rules for a reasonable amount of time. So the empire is keeping stable. We managed to repel some Hunnic invaders. That's good. We don't hear much else about what else is going on. So presumably things aren't going much better. Things aren't going much worse. I can imagine that the invasion of the nomads in the east is still going on. There's at least some conflict. We don't hear of any great victories. So presumably they're just slowly advancing as they were before. But we win some victories against the Huns. We managed to keep Armenia. We just replace their ruler with a more loyal one. I'd say a 5 for Bahram IV, just because it's ticking along without pride or shame. It's just going on. So, yeah, I'm sticking with a 5.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
I am there with you. Yeah.
Very well. So with a 5 and a 5, we get a 10 out of 20 for Aaron Shine. Our next category is Face of Faces. What do you think this man looked like?
I have no
And
thoughts.
I will send you his crown.
Yeah, thank you, because I don't know.
Quite a nice crown. I always enjoy when crowns have wings. That's good. More modern crowns should have wings. Okay, so Sarah has finished their drawing. Let me pick it up and I'll describe it to you all. So what we have here is a dude. A guy, perhaps you might call him.
Yeah.
A fellow.
He sure is.
Yeah, he is a king. He has a nice robe. He has long hair, relatively long beard. And the most notable thing that describes him as Bahram IV is his crown.
Which is just really cool, but like that has
It's a
nothing
good
to
crown,
do with
yeah.
him.
It's a good crown. A shame it had to go to such a lame king.
It's just, you know.
Yeah, you basically have like a bit of a crenellated screen at the front of it. There are some wings over at the sides and a nice globe hovering over in the center. And yeah, it's just a very cool crown. Shame about the king. Oh well. So thank you, Sariel, for the lovely drawing.
The episode of all episodes.
Yes, this was surely an episode.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Sariel, for the drawing. If anybody wants to see it, you can go to our Discord if you're a patron. You can follow the link in the description or go to our website in Sariel's portrait gallery. And now let me show Sariel what he looked like. And they can tell us what they think.
Tell me.
So, in theme with the rest of the episode, we only have a coin.
That for sure is a coin. Yep.
Yep.
I mean, the crown's really cool.
And
I like that he has
coin.
his hair like tied like in a bun, essentially. Or I assume two buns, because that's usually what, if you see them from the front, that's usually what you see.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's not even like a especially new style, just a stylist profile. Yeah. It's just a
what I find interesting is that the empires progressively go more stylized. Like, we started with Ardashir the First, which was very realistic, and now we're just moving into the... We're going to see that by the last kings, they're mostly like ant people. Very exciting.
Interesting.
But, yeah. So, this is Bahram IV.
Yeah.
What would you give him?
I got 2.
I was also thinking 2.
But I don't...
Yeah, it's like
1 point because
it's fine.
Contemporary, and another because cool crown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also like, it's a cool crown, but it's not like the coolest crown.
Nah. I mean, it has wings, which I appreciate, but...
It's neat, but it's like, it's just neat.
Yeah.
So, okay. With a 2 and a 2, we get a 1 out of 5 for Face of Faces. Our next category is lengthiness. How long do you think this man reigned?
You said longer than I thought, so...
Yes.
Maybe 10 years?
He reigned just 11 years, which is very close. So, yeah, that's it. He reigned from 388 to 399. Almost bringing us into the 5th century. Exciting when we get a new century. Most of the 4th century was spent under Shapur II. So, fair enough. And yeah, so we take 11 years, divide them by 10, we get a 1.1 out of 5 for lengthiness. And that brings us to the final score, which is a grand total of 23.1 out of 100, which places him above Darius III and below Bardia. So, I would say definitely less interesting than both of those. But he is in the low 20s club. That's, it's fine, I guess. It's nothing to write home about. Which means that when I ask you, Sariel, if he is notable enough, if he is Hun-killing enough, if he is memorable enough to be a Shahanshah, we all say no.
No.
I'm sorry, Bahram IV, you are a Shahanah. you can go off into the desert and tell Shapur III that, yeah, you also went hunting. You made the same mistake, but this time you died in a more predictable way, so hey, good to know. That was fun.
Was it fun? Was it?
Somewhat. But fear not, listeners. Next episode, we have Yazdegerd I, and there is a reason why there are more Yazdegerds, and also, I will tell you his nickname. His nickname is Yazdegerd the Accursed.
Oh?
Or
I
the
did not
Accursed,
expect that.
if you want to go that way.
Huh?
And, yeah. He has a whole bunch of stuff in the Shadame. It's cool, it's good. I enjoy Yazdegerd. I think he is one of the hidden gems. I had never heard of him before, but yes. Don't worry, the fallow season is almost over. It's okay. Please come back.
Interesting.
Yes, but unfortunately, we won't really be having him next week because of us being away for a while, so there we go. And we'll be back in August, so that'll be nice. But if you want more So You Think You Can Rule Persia and can't live 1 full week without us or 2 full weeks without us, goodness, perish the thought, then you can join our Patreon, where we have a bunch of extra episodes for your listening pleasure. We have a bunch of interesting episodes. We have something on Mithridates VI, the Poison King, Alcibiades, Ashoka the Great, Kartir and Mani, and coming out at the end of July, Dionysus in India. That's going to be interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yes,
Why is Dionysus known as a great conqueror? Why is he thought of as going to India? What is that story? Well, join us and find out. For as little as $3 a month, you can listen to it. You can also just do $3 and listen and then come back later. That's cool too. It's fine. If instead you'd rather not support us monetarily, that's fine. We just appreciate if you could also give us a review on your podcast app of choice. It doesn't have to be anything long. It can just be nice podcast. But if you write something longer, we always appreciate that sort of thing. And yeah, in that case, I think without much further ado, we hope you have a lovely, rest of your month, and we'll see you next time.
Take
Goodbye.
care. Bye.